everyone, welcome to C to the K. My name is Chris. I'm the C in this situation, and today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to make a Red Hood costume. Now this costume took a little while for me to build, and I honestly didn't think I was going to make this video because I didn't think I'd finish in time. So be patient and, trial and error is your best friend. Just keep trying and eventually you'll get exactly what you're picturing in your head. So anyway, here's the video. Okay guys, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the materials, but there's going to be a whole bunch of jumping around, so hopefully when I'm done editing we're going to go through all of the materials that you need and then how to make it. So I guess the main ingredient is going to be some form of super glue, okay, because this is very, very important. I used crazy glue for the helmet. This glue works as well. But I've got several other different types of glue here and I'm going to explain how I use them. Now, when you're working with foam, the best glue to use, which I couldn't get a hold of, so I'm going to have to buy it online for my next video, is barge contact cement. Here's a picture right here. That is the best glue you can use. It works really quick. But anyway, we're going to go on from there. So because I wasn't able to get a hold of it in time, I used super glue and crazy glue. Now this glue actually works really, really well. The Elmer's contact adhesive. The only thing is it takes really, really long for it to really stick. So, if you get the hang of it, it probably won't be that hard, but I don't know. It takes a little while. It would have taken a lot longer to do the helmet if we would have used this. So keep that in mind. We also use this glue. This glue works for foam, but we actually used it to stick the foam pieces to the leather for the chest piece and the abs and stuff like that. We mixed this glue with the Loctite. Well, we would put Loctite around the edges and then we put this glue around the middle, and it seemed to do a pretty good hold. The glue that we used here was actually for the Red Hood symbol in the center of the chest. That way, it dried very, very quickly and it didn't leave any different marks or anything like that. You're going to need this. This is actually pretty good. I mean, you don't need it, but we used it to cover inside the seams of the helmet. This spray right here I used in my hair, and the reason why is because some people draw Jason Todd with a white patch in his hair. So, if you want to do that, you can. I thought it looked kind of cool. This is the paint that we used to paint the knuckles on the gloves, which I will point out again. More crazy glue, because this is also important. We have several different types of brushes. A lot of Velcro. Get a lot of this. This is helpful. 2 sunglass lenses that you're not really going to use. These are just ones that I had that were scratched up that we were going to use. They ended up being too small, but they're good for an example. I used this to make the battle damage on the chest piece. It's a nice little serrated pocket knife. It's really, really tiny and it did the job. We found these little things at Joann's Fabrics. They're pretty good. We didn't need to use any glue because they already have 3 little spikes attached to them, so we just pushed them straight into the foam. We used these to make the chest look like it was bolted straight into the leather to make it look more bulletproof, I guess. It really brought out the chest. So these pins we used to stick the templates onto the foam when time needed for us to draw them or to draw around them to transfer them from the paper to the foam. So these things actually came in handy a lot. One thing that you're going to need is a leather piece. This is something that we use something similar to this. I would recommend getting something softer that moves around more, like this. This would have been better if we would have used that. But, this is still really, really good. Use a leather that you can cut up that's not that expensive, Tape to mark out your templates, and tape is just handy. Duct tape, we used Batman duct tape to stick the lenses inside the mask, and electrical tape for your props and, weapons and things like that. Different types of markers to transfer the templates onto the foam. You're going to need some scissors to cut into this foam right here. It's pretty thin, but we used it to make the symbol. We used a shoelace right here to mark out how long it was from the tip of my nose to my mouth to adjust that piece for the helmet. You're going to need some face paint, and I'll explain why later. And finally, the piece that we needed the most was this. These are $5 templates that we bought online from this man named Evil Ted. Evil Ted makes a bunch of costumes for, Hollywood and things like that out of the same EVA foam that we used to make the costume and the helmet. And this guy makes some really awesome templates. He has the head template that I made modifications to make the helmet for Red Hood, and he has the chest and back and abs template for over here. So these actually helped out a lot, so shout out to Evil Ted, because his templates are amazing. Now these templates, they print out on different sheets of paper, and you need to you know, stick them together and stuff like that. And for the helmet, it gives you more of a Magneto shaped helmet. Here's a picture. That's what this is meant for you to make. And I basically changed that Magneto helmet into the Red Hood helmet using various modifications and lots of tests. And I'm going to show you how I changed it now. I mainly only use the chest part of his template, although these things are going to come in handy for later on. The abs portion I drew out myself and cut out of paper so that I could use for my own templates later on. In the end, when we were done, we saved the perfect templates that we needed. I made the adjustments to the real printed out templates. I made all of the adjustments and I saved those, and I made sure that they all worked. And I saved them inside this nice Ziploc bag that says Red Hood, so if I ever need to make another costume exactly like this, this is what I'm going to use. So right here we have an old balaclava that I had laying around from another costume, and basically I just put this on. Now this is actually a really big one, so what we ended up doing was taking Velcro and sticking them to the backs of this, of here and here, and just measuring it out, so that way we can stick them together like that, and we can make it tighter around my neck when I needed to put on the helmet, so that way it would cover up my skin. And it just overall made for like a better helmet feel. This black jacket that I have over here, it looks kind of leather. It's not, it's just fabric. I liked it. I used it in my Star Wars video. That's why I just had it, and I figured it worked great for this costume, so I was going to keep it like that. I used this belt, and I like this belt because it has a kind of a weirdly shaped belt buckle, and it kind of looks like a half bat, so I thought that was really cool. Right here we have the gloves that I used. We got these on eBay, and then we just painted in the knuckles in red using that paint right here. And these really make the costume. They look super cool. They look like crime fighter gloves, so I really did like these. And for the pants, we just used black cargo pants that tied around the ankles, and then we used combat boots. Any pair of combat boots will do as long as they're black or they match the overall outfit. Now on to the more difficult stuff. The way that we made the chest piece right here was, my grandma used to sew a lot back in the day, and she used to actually make costumes for my mom and dad, and she actually helped me out. What we did was we took newspaper, and then she took my overall measurements, and she basically drew this out and tested it on me, and it fit really well. And we used this, and then we cut it out into this fabric. Now, I wouldn't recommend getting such a strong leather. I mean, it can work for you. It does the overall job, but it doesn't move enough, so it's a little uncomfortable when you sit down and stuff. So I would recommend getting a better fabric, but this was good. It was cheap, and it really did make the piece look good. So I do like this fabric. And then we used 2 different types of straps that we applied Velcro to it and stitched them onto this fabric right here. Now you're also going to need a cloth for distressing your props and helmets and weapons and things like that. I used this broken airsoft that I had laying around for a rifle, and it looked really good, and I basically just distressed everything using silver spray paint and a rag with my method that I showed in a couple of my previous other videos. Right here, this scope is one that it actually came with, and it has functioning lights and things like that, so that works really well too. And then this is a flashlight that actually works as well, so that all looked pretty cool. So, you know, it clocks back right over here, and it has the trigger, and it still looks good, but it just doesn't function as an airsoft gun anymore, so we used it for the costume, and it looks pretty awesome. So in the comics, Jason Todd uses a knife. Now, the way that the knife looks always kind of changes depending on who's drawing it, so I kind of mixed the original knife that he uses in the comic books and the one that he uses in the movie, and I kind of got this, and this looks really good. We bought this knife that I found in Walmart. It was cheap. It came with 2 of them, so just in case if you messed up on one like I did, you still had the other. And then we just used black electrical tape for the grips on the knife as well. Now, one thing about this knife that I don't necessarily like is that there are these 2 screw holes down here, but it doesn't bother me that much, so, you know, it still works. But if it does bother you, you can get a different knife. This one was just good because it was cheap and it came with 2, so. And then right here, we used this pistol right here. It is an airsoft gun. It is not real whatsoever, but it looks really cool, so we like this one. And then here's the gun that I'm really, really proud of. I distressed this airsoft 1911 pistol, and I added a laser sight that actually works right here, you know, and we added a iron sight to the top of it. So this looks really, really cool. It's got a fake extended type mag over here, so it looks really, really awesome. And then we got a leg holster to just attach it to the leg, because this one is scarier looking. This one is scarier looking than that one, so I usually will keep this in the holster so that way it doesn't scare anybody. Now let's talk about this chest piece over here. This one is the final one that I actually used in the costume, and it was done using a lot of trial and error. But if it was not for Evil Ted's templates, I would not have been able to make this awesome chest piece that fits me. So this all came out really, really good. My abs look awesome, and we measured them out and made them pretty big, and I drew this out of paper and cut them out into the foam, and so this came out really, really good. Now for the bullet holes right here, we actually used a soldering iron to cut out all of these pieces with the razor attachment, and it just melted straight through the foam and left some really, really nice seams, and so that was really good. And so the soldering iron had like a branding attachment, so we used that to make the bullet holes, and then I just took a knife and cut out some lines right here, and then took some paint and distressed it with the rag. Now before I made this and I had found out about Evil Ted's templates, I actually made this. This is still good. It was just too small on me. It didn't look right. I'm a large size t-shirt, and this is more for someone who's like a medium sized t-shirt. So it was just a size too small, and I wasn't really that happy with it, and I had more foam. So I did some research. I found Evil Ted's templates and I made that one, which I think is a lot better. But this still looks pretty good. I'll probably end up using it in another video. Now, when we first did this, we used hot glue, and I wouldn't necessarily recommend using hot glue unless you want to go for like a crudely welded kind of look. But, you know, it does the job. It still looks good. Now, before I made this symbol in the chest out of the thinner foam, I actually tried out a couple of different designs over here. And, you know, I was trying to go for the armored look, but they both ended up looking pretty bad, and I didn't end up using them. And this was my first time using a Dremel, and I didn't do very well at all. So you know, trial and error is going to be your friend here. This is the best way to work it. Now, here are the templates that I ended up using to make this helmet. So this is the finished helmet. It actually looks really, really good. It's got sunglass lenses inside. It's got the duct tape that I was telling you guys about. It's all made out of foam. It's glued with super glue. But before I got to this, I actually had to get the paper templates and try it out. So basically what I did was I took Evil Ted's templates, and Evil Ted's templates actually stop right around here. So they don't have any of this extra face attachment piece, right? And these actually extend out to be a lot longer. So what I ended up doing was I tried them on. I drew new ones. I made them out of paper. I ended up making about 10 different types of templates of this out of paper, and I cut out several different kinds, and I used an X-Acto knife to clearly cut it out so that I could redraw it again and do more modifications. And it really did take a long time to make this helmet, but once I had it out of paper, I made it out of this. This is the first helmet we've ever made out of foam, and if it wasn't for the fact that I drew out the templates and tried it on several times, I probably would have had to do it a few more times. And I only had one sheet of foam left, so if this didn't work, I was kind of screwed. And so I ended up making it out of paper and trying it on, and then I used tape to attach it by the seams, and then I used an X-Acto knife to cut off the tape and then take the new template and draw it out again. So I ended up making one final template that I have in the Ziploc bag over here, and I ended up using that one to make the helmet. This was made specifically for my head, so I can't necessarily put the measurements over here. And plus, if you really were going to try and do this, I would recommend buying Evil Ted's templates anyway. They're $5 and you can use them as much as you want afterwards, but you know, I wouldn't want to rob him of something by putting out the templates again. So then all that was left was some tape. I used my soldering iron engraver to do these lines down the side like he does in the animated movie, and that was it. And then for better visibility, because sometimes it does get foggy in there, and now we had this old mask that my dad wore as a Robin costume a few years ago. I just painted it red, and we used this one for the Jason Todd mask when he's not wearing the helmet. So this one also works really, really well. I believe it was the Arkham Knight Robin t-shirt costume thing, and it came with this, and I really liked it, so we ended up painting this too. The only thing with this helmet that I have to say is before you do so, I left the cutout in the back so it would be easier, so we would just Velcro these two pieces together once I have the helmet on. That way it gives me more space to put it on, and then once I put it on, I can just close it in the back here. Now the only thing is, we made a stupid mistake, and we put the Velcro on before we painted it. So that's why you see it's all crusty and red over here, and the Velcro is kind of essentially not working. So if you do plan on making this helmet, put the Velcro on last. Wait for the Velcro is the very last thing you should put on. So do that next time. Don't make the same mistake. But other than that, this helmet looks really good, and it came out exactly like how I wanted it in my drawings and designs. So I'm super happy with that. So in the end, all you have left to do is paint all of your individual pieces and you are done. And I'm really happy with how this costume came out. So be patient, keep trying, and eventually you will get exactly what you're looking for. This helmet was not easy to make, and it took a lot of different tries. But once you finally get your template down, you have it. It's set. Anyway guys, that's it for now. See you to the K. Checking out.
Forgive me for my wrongs, I have just begun. Ain't no mercy, ain't no mercy. Got that purple Lamborghini lurking.
Oh my god, dude, the cringe. The cringe!